What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. I'm your host over here. And over there in that other box is my other co host, former friend of mine, but he's just so busy up in Oklahoma
Former
in the
friend.
in the nowhere-ness of Oklahoma. It's Andrew Santangelo. Andrew, how are you doing? We haven't talked in a minute.
I'm doing very well. It's been a busy spring, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad baseball's coming back, and hey, big Final Four on Saturday too. So I'm excited. It's
Yes,
going
good.
well.
Good. We're gonna post this probably after the Final Four, so people will know if you're
Okay.
alive or dead. Andrew, big Villanova guy. Andrew, do you have an official prediction so we can make fun of you real quick?
Yeah, Villanova will take Saturday's game against Kansas,
Hmm.
71-66,
Okay, good.
and
All
then they'll
right.
beat
So,
Duke in the championship. So.
well, they're not beating Duke, so that will be interesting, and they're not going to play Duke. But it doesn't matter because this is a baseball show, Andrew. This is a baseball show. We talk baseball here, and we're going to talk AL Central futures today. Over under, playoff odds, division odds, all that good stuff. Some player props if there's any in this division. Which spoiler alert, there are. I bet one, and it's with the first team, the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City Royals, good squad. I like that. I mean, I like the Royals. I think they're an interesting bunch. Win total 73.5 at FanDuel. Or sorry, yeah, FanDuel. I was gonna say Fangraphs. Uh, to make the playoffs
Good
plus
website.
610. Make to not make the playoffs minus 1,000. To win a division plus 2,000, and to win the World Series 10-1. Very high odds there for the Royals. Additions. Their opening day starter announced today. Zach Greinke taking the bump. Former, I guess, legend. Kansas City legend. I'm not sure, but we'll call him that. Brad Peacock, and Colton Brewer added to the squad. They traded for Amir Garrett as well in a nice trade that I liked. And I'll count these as additions. I think I'm going to go ahead and hope and pray that they start the season with Bobby Witt Jr., third base, and we'll see what happens from there. Probably going to be the rookie of the year, but we'll talk here in a second about that. Subtractions: Jakob Yunis gone, Ryan McBoom gone. I think Ryan McBoom's in Japan now. Shout out to him. Ervin Santana gone. Wade Davis gone. Greg Holland gone. It's going to be an interesting year for the Royals. They're projected to be the basement team of this AL Central, which is probably the worst division in baseball. A lot of mixed teams in here, but Andrew, I'll let you talk for a bit. Where are you leaning on that win total so far on 73.5? We'll start there.
73.5. That's a tough number considering they won 74 last year. They went 74-88, finished fourth in the division. Mike Matheny's back for another year, so I mean it's going to be an interesting team that is obviously they're in the process of rebuilding while they're signing some veterans as well to see if they can pair with it. Like you mentioned, they bring back Cranky, so great story, but obviously a guy that is coming toward the end of his career. Obviously, who knows how much longer he has left, and he gets the opening day. So it's again fun story to get him back. I don't think it's really gonna. It might add a couple wins here and there, and I think it was only a 1-year deal, so we'll see if he is back or if he's still there. I mean, past the deadline, but I'm leaning towards the under here for the Kansas City Royals over or win total under 73.5. You look at some of their line, or you look at the rest of the rotation. They got Brad Keller, Brady Singer, Chris Brubeck, and Carlos Hernandez. So, I mean, you got guys here who have struggled in the past. They've shown signs like Carlos Hernandez finished last year with a 3.68 ERA. See what he's able to do. We'll see which Cranky you get. And then hitters. I know you're a big fan of Salvador Perez. He'll obviously be fine coming off a 48 home run season. I think he'll be just fine. Whit Merrifield's always a fantastic play. And then we'll see which Carlos Santana and Andrew Benintendi they get back. But I don't know. I don't like the team top to bottom. I think they'll still get some growing pains. So I'm going to take the under.
I'm leaning over here. I need to double check actually right now. I'll check and see if I actually bet it. To see if I made it as an official play. I've already forgotten. I've been putting in a couple as the days go on and as my research grows. Let me double check here. I don't know. I only have 3 in, and they're not one of them. I was pretty firm on this over going into this, and then you kind of look into the team, look into the division, and it gets harder to pick an over. You know, their rotation's young. not experienced. Like I just I need a little bit more from them. Who knows what we'll get from Greinke, Bubic, and Singer are supposed to be great, but I need to see it. I need to see it for sure. So I'm going to lean over here. I'm not going to make it an official play over 73.5, but we'll see. And obviously, Andrew, you're not going to take them to make the playoffs, and you're not going to take them World Series or division, correct?
That's correct. If they win the division with under 73 wins, something went wrong in that division.
It would be really funny. All right, next team, unless you have any closing thoughts on the Royals, is the newly named Cleveland Guardians. The new Cleveland Guardians, 75.5, their win total right now. Yes, to make the playoffs, plus 410. No, minus 590. Right now, we've got them a plus 1,000 to win the division and plus 7,500 to win the World Series. I do not like this team, Andrew. I'm not sure. I was trying to analyze myself, I guess. Do I have a bias towards the Guardians? Because, everyone falls in love with the pitching staff. Terry Francona back. We'll see how long he stays there. I hope he's there the whole year, healthy and ready to go. But, man, once you look at that the hitting is just so tough. You have Jose Ramirez. The Guardians are known for trading their players 2 years before they leave. This might be the last half season with him. And then this is also Shane Bieber's tryout too, Andrew. His contract's running up. I think he's got 3 years left of arbitration after this year. He'll be on that chopping block just like everyone else. And he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball when he's on. So I'm going with an under here. I'm going to make that an official play, under 75.5. I think this will be the basement dweller of this division, purely based. If their ownership just spent a little money, man, their additions and subtractions are hilariously thin. Sandy Leon, the only active Hall of Famer, came into the Guardians. Luke Maile, sure, while also losing Wilson Ramos, Nit Wickren, and Roberto Perez. I mean, it's just shuffling the deck chairs there with some catchers. So I'm taking the under. I love Terry Francona. I wouldn't be surprised if he coached this team to being a decent squad and the pitching kind of carried them. But I'm going to take the under here, and I am going to bet it at under 75.5.
Well, second straight one, we're going to disagree. I'm going to start with.
I knew you would. I knew you were going to take the over. I knew it.
It's because it's set so low for me. That's such a low number for a team that won 80 games last year. They finished in second, and if you really break it down, I mean, let's be honest. The guys you mentioned who they lost to gained, I mean, it's basically a wash. They really didn't lose anyone too big from that team. And if you think about it, everything that went wrong last year went wrong. You lose Francona due to health issues. We'll see if he's able to get back for the whole season, if not at least most of it. I mean, you mentioned it. Shane Bieber had a down year, but when he's good, he is arguably the best pitcher in the AL. You mentioned some of those other guys. You have Zach Plesac. He had a down year, but he's supposed to be pretty good. He finished last year with a 4.67. So these are guys I expect to come back a little bit and improve. I'm not saying I wouldn't predict them to win the division or take them for the division, but 75 is a low number there. So, and for a team that won 80 games last year, they didn't lose anything to get worse. And if anything, they're going to gain stuff back. I mean, if we're being real, Jose Ramirez is going to bat as low as 265, I think it was again this year. Now, I'd expect him to go back to higher, closer to that 300 number we've used to seeing him do in the past. Amid Rosario, he's not that bad. Framil Reyes, he's not a bad power hitter as well. So they got some pieces there in the middle of the lineup. And again, the thing that sticks out to me is the 80 last year, and they really didn't lose that much. If anything, they're gaining pieces they've already had. So for me, I'm going to stick toward above that 75 and close to that 80 number like last year.
I'm looking at their win totals for the last couple of years. I'm throwing out the COVID year, obviously. We can talk. They went over last year. Their win total, I'm looking at 19. Their win total was 90.5. They go 93. 94.5. They go under with 91 wins. and then they have these stretches where they hit 102 wins, 94 wins. They're just been a solid squad, and if they go under this 75.5, this would be their worst record since 2012. Shockingly enough, Andrew, 2012. When they had 68 wins that year. So, I think I'm starting to come around, honestly. I think you might have
Yeah, here
convinced
we
me.
go. See?
I think I'll join you, actually. I'll cancel my bet, and I'll join you on the over, and I'm writing it down right now. Actually, I'm going to write it down. I'll take the over on the
An
Kansas.
intriguing piece for me on this team too is I don't know, is Emmanuel Clase, is that his last name?
Class A.
Class. He's going to be an interesting piece. We'll see. He had a solid year last year as a young pitcher. So we'll see what he's able to do this year as well. If he's able to kind of not bounce back, but continue that success. Is obviously for bullpen. That's their big issue for me is they lack bullpen depth.
Well, I might change my mind again here, Andrew, on the win total. But are you worried about? We said that this is probably Jose Ramirez's last maybe half year on the Guardians. Are you worried about that?
No, because I don't see a deal for him getting done mid-season. I would expect it to happen after the year. I think it's when Francisco Lindor got dealt, right? In the offseason.
Yeah, it was in the offseason.
So I would expect it to be similar to that situation. So I wouldn't worry about that too much here in terms of him getting moved at the deadline. I'd be more worried about some of those starters possibly getting moved.
Yeah, nightmare situation for if you're an overtaker, I guess, in this Guardian squad would be, let's just use the Yankees as a example. They've got a pretty good farm system, number 9 in baseball. They need a starting pitcher, and of course, they need some bats. The Yankees pull that Godfather offer for Bieber and Ramirez and do it in one fell swoop. And if something like that happens, then the Guardians would be cooked for sure.
Yeah.
But I like the pitching staff too. I just really can't get behind that hitting. The offense is just horrid. But Terry Francone's a great manager, so I guess I won't make it official since I changed my mind. Now I've changed my mind a second time here, but I'm going to take a slight over 75.5. I'll listen to you. I won't bet it. Not official play. But I'll look at that. And I also wanted to mention Shane Bieber plus 900 for the Cy Young. If he's healthy again, watch out. He's a great pitcher. Again, arguably the best in baseball. Right there with DeGrom and Cole. So it'll be fun to watch. All right, Andrew, are you ready to talk about the Detroit Tigers?
They got a fun team. I'm ready.
They are a fun squad. 77.5 is their win total. To make the playoff, plus 410 and minus 590 to not make the playoff. So maybe not all the way back for the Tigers. Division odds plus 750, which is a little lower than you would expect. I would kind of expect them in the plus 1,000 range there. And then the World Series plus 5,500. I'm going under here. I don't know what the AJ Hinch effect of all this is. When I hear, all you hear about is AJ Hinch being a shitty manager and all that stuff, and had the players to kind of carry him into that Astros success. I don't like Javi Baez. I don't think he's if he's a top 10 shortstop. I had a whole list written out actually, and I lost it because I actually saved a sheet over that. So bad luck by me. But I don't think he's very good. Strikes out a lot. Not my cup of tea. Erod, I love Eduardo Rodriguez, but he's coming off a career worst year last year. He was, I guess, the most notable case of COVID and having myocarditis, is inflamed heart a little bit. First year back after that might be an issue, or I guess that was an issue last year. Now he'll be back again, so we'll see what happens there. Skubal and Mize, they're supposed to be the truth. I mean, we'll see. It's kind of been left people with a little bit of desire, and the rest of the bats, Akil Baddoo, sure. Robbie Grossman, okay, Jaime Candelario, why not? Jonathan Scope re-signed there, which was a good move from then, I guess. The three hitters that I think will help define this team will be Riley Green, of course, a top prospect. Spencer Torkelson, the top prospect in all of baseball, first baseman, and Miguel Cabrera. So we get all three of the spectrum there, the two young guys and the old guy. If Miguel Cabrera can, let's call it a Joey Votto year from last year. Joey Votto puts it together, has another great year in his late 30s. If Miggy can put something together this year, give some team some leadership, all the young guys see him pulling the way, maybe they can get over here, but I'm taking the under here. I think it'll be a close one. I might have to sweat this one out. I think it'll be closer to a 75-win team like your Guardians, Andrew. What do you think about the Tigers?
I'm ready to change your mind again.
Good.
I think, again, I look at a lot with last year, and to me, they brought in this offseason more than they lost. I think we agree. Eduardo Rodriguez, Matthew Boyd, that's kind of a wash. I know Boyd had a good year a couple years ago, but last year he kind of came back down to earth a little bit, and Rodriguez coming in, he'll probably be the number one pitcher.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's wild. But he'll come in there, take over that starting spot for the rotation. I'm not huge on Javier Baez, but I'm higher on him than you are. A lot of disrespect to Baez. But they also bring in Tucker Barnhart. They bring in Michael Pineda. I mean, a couple. So they got depth now a little bit. And a team that won 77 games last year in A.J. Hinch's first season. I think he's able to take some of these young guys that are supposed to come in and make that next movement. You've already talked about some of them, Scooble, Maez. I think they take the next step as well. So I think, and you mentioned Cabrera, he had 75 RBIs last year. He hit 256, which is obviously not great, but it's better than what we've seen from him. So if he's able to take somewhat of that next step as well, I think this team could honestly this team is a dark horse to get into one of that final wild card spot with the playoff expansion now this year with baseball, because of if these pieces click with some of the younger guys that have been called up, got some experience last year. This is a dark horse for the playoff spot, for that last wild card.
I don't hate that. Plus 410 that's a good number for it. They are the underdogs here. Just some other additions to wrap that up. I should have said that earlier. I said Javi. Eddie comes in. Michael Pineda. Hope they have enough pine tar for him there. Andrew Chafin, a good bullpen piece who, I'm going to look right now. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he ended up being their closer this year. Gregory Soto and Michael Fulmer are listed in front of him right now, but I mean, I'm not sold on either one of those guys. So
No.
They also got Tucker Barnhart from the Reds, a good defensive catcher, and he can bring us some pop too. So, yeah, like you said, that all these teams in the AL Central are, a little mishmash of each other. Like, I would say the next team and the Tigers are a little more similar. And the next team and the Guardians are the exact opposite teams. Based off their hitting and pitching splits, or I guess you would call them. But these three teams are just going to keep battling it out for these spots in the AL Central. When they play each other, it's going to be interesting. And like my guy Bobano said in the AL East, AL East Futures video we filmed, it's just one series here, you lose a series there, you could be screwed on that over/under. So I'm going to take the under slightly. I think it'll be close to 75, but I don't hate your look there for the playoffs either.
So we're 0-3 so far on whether we agree with each other.
Well, let's try to go 0-4 here, because next we've got the Minnesota Twins, who I guess have had the most interesting offseason in baseball so far. A team we don't anticipate spending big money, whatever. They trade away Josh Donaldson, a $35 million player, free up the space. They get Gio Urshela and maybe one of the worst catchers in baseball, Gary Sanchez. And, they go out inside the guy. They go get Carlos Correa, highest paid infielder ever. Sure. Why not on basically a series of one-year deals? I think I alluded to this earlier on another show. I think I'm going under with the Twins too, man. I have written over. I think this is one of the harder divisions to go with, win total wise, and try to break down. I'm going to go under here mainly because the pitching staff is just so bad, man. It's just so horrid, and I can't. The Guardians hitting is what the fucking Twins pitching is right now. You've got Sonny Gray, who's allegedly going to be the ace, and maybe opening day starter. Which, sure, I guess.
Depends.
Go ahead.
I say if you get the Gray from the A's, maybe that final year when they traded him to the Yankees.
Yeah, and I mean, how long ago was that now? So
100 years ago.
Joe Ryan, sure. Dylan Bundy, Reclamation Project had a good year, and now he's been bad. Bailey Ober, who I kind of like. I think he's my favorite of these pitchers. And then Chris Archer, who was washed up, I don't know how long ago. So that pitching staff is horrid. The bullpen is okay. Taylor Rogers is good. But that's about it. If they had a better pitching or if they had a better bullpen, maybe I can get behind this team more. But Andrew, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Twins are out of it. Let's say they have another shit year like last year when they were supposed to be good, can't figure it out. I wouldn't be surprised if Carlos Correa didn't even end the season with this squad.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if that happened. I mean, make that signing, you're going to try to keep him. But, like you said, they tried to rebuild their team through free agency this year. Obviously, the 73 wins was a down year for them. They bring in 3 new starters. They bring in Gray. They bring in Dylan Bundy. They bring in Archer. Those are going to be your 3 or 5 starters. So they tried to recreate everything through free agency, which baseball, we've seen that cost teams in the past. I mean, it's not like other sports where you can kind of just recreate that. Obviously, we've seen in the past with baseball, a lot of it does come into the prospects who can you finally get those guys back and homegrown players. And we'll see what this team's able to do. Obviously, they lost some key players with the bats too. You lose Donaldson, you lose Nelson Cruz, you lose Mitch Garver, you lose Andrelton Simmons. I mean, like you said, I know you bring in Correa, obviously, and you bring Gary Sanchez with that trade, but it's kind of hit or miss in some of those. Obviously, Correa is an upgrade. I view Sanchez as a downgrade from Garver. And then Cruz is obviously still a very good DH, so that's a downgrade as well. A sleeper that people forget about that will come back, who got hurt last year, but the question is, will he be able to stay healthy this year, because he does get hurt a lot, is Byron Buxton. I love him when he's on the field, but the question is how many games he's going to be able to play. So that could be an addition that's back who didn't really play last year. But I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm gonna hit the under here as well. Like you said, the pitching. I mean, you mentioned it. Taylor Rogers is a good closer, but are they going to be able to get to him? I mean, a good closer is only good when you have the lead. If you're not going to have the lead there in the 9th inning, it turns out to be a wash. And I think the pieces they lost overshadows the pieces they gained in a Carlos Correa. And you're banking on a lot of veterans to turn back the clock 5 years ago. We did see that recently, though. We look at the San Francisco Giants last year. They had a lot of guys turn back the clock, and they went out and won 107 games. So if that happens, maybe this Twins team can surprise some people. But I don't expect that from an Archer and Bundy. So I'm gonna take the under as well.
Yeah, they also lose Sean Gant, who wasn't very good. Rolf Refsnyder, who's sure, but I would say the one of the 2 bright spots for this Twin team is their top 9 prospects are all ETA to debut this year in the majors. And the Twins do have a good farm system. They've got guys in there, and I want the general manager for the Twins to go out there and do something, man. I need him to go out there and try to win GM of the year or whatever. Try to go out there and do your thing, man. Because if you can go poach some pitchers from the A's, for example,
that's what I was gonna say.
If you can get one of those guys, 2 of those guys, that'd be huge. And like I said, they've got the firepower to pick up another pitcher. They've got a good farm system. All those dudes, like I said, ETA this year. That's what guys, or I should say, that's what general managers want. Good prospects coming up now to help the squad, cheap. So I do think they have that chance, and they obviously do want to win. But like I said, if they do start out slow, nothing you can do there. I could guarantee you the rumors will start rumbling. Carlos Correa, mistake to come into Minnesota, probably going to opt out, not in the heat of the battle, blah, blah, blah. You could easily, like I said, trade Carlos Correa, recoup some prospects, and just try again. That's the beauty of signing Correa and having that flexibility. You wish you could keep him, and you do everything you can. But if you see yourself not being able to snag him, and that takes a lot of GM work right there. That's not a hard thing. It's not an easy thing to do, I should say. You can gauge the interest and see if you can get a trade there. But I'm going with the under 2, Andrew. I just versatile or a volatile team. I'm not going to make it official. Lean to the under. But I'm going to be interested to watch and see the Twins for the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, what stinks too is I mean, he might not be a 1 on some teams, but Kenta Maeda, he's out for the whole season, or maybe again back in September. But
yeah, and if it makes it even worse, another one, Jose Barrios.
Yeah.
They had Jose Barrios. They trade him away. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember what they got for him. So it's just tough. It's that push and pull about, trading and getting prospects and all that stuff. So if they definitely had those two guys there, it'd be scary.
It's an over.
it's for sure. All right, Andrew. Last team here, the team that I think everyone wants to hear us talk about, the AL Central champions from last year, the Chicago White Sox. 93.5 is their win total right now on FanDuel. I'm going to keep saying Fangraphs on accident. I'm going over here, Andrew, and I think you and I both like this squad. They are one of the teams that I've circled that could potentially win the World Series this year. Yes, to make the playoffs, minus 430, no, plus 320. To win the division, minus 210, and the World Series, like I just said, plus 1,000. I think those are third best odds, too. So, a great squad. I think last year we had some questions answered about the Tony La Russa factor. He didn't. I mean, we won't really know, I guess, how many wins or losses he accounts for. That's kind of tough to say. He didn't do a horrible job. He did burn out the bright light that was Yermin Mercedes. Who knows what we get from him this year because he went down to the minors. I hope he's a DH for them. But I like this squad a lot, Andrew. I like this squad a lot. Obviously, the bullpen's ridiculous. Let's go through the additions and subtractions. They lose Billy Hamilton. Shame. Ryan Tepera, good bullpen piece. And Carlos Rodon, who was a great starting pitcher for them. Kind of hurt on and off. Can't really pay him if they're the White Sox. So don't hate that, letting him walk. They add Joe Kelly, great reliever. Shout out to Joe, playoff experience. Josh Harrison. Kendall Graveman, who people forgot, he's a better reliever than Joe Kelly. He's really good. Dwight Smith Jr. and old friend of the Phillies, Vince Velasquez. So we'll see again. I like this team a lot. I'm going with the over here, 93.5. I will, when the season gets closer, maybe on opening day, I will probably say who I'm taking to win the World Series, my futures and etc. I will decide then. But I like the squad a lot. They've got everything. Andrew, I didn't even mention any of that on the offense. So go ahead and take it away and tell me why you also like these White Sox.
Yeah, I agree. I think the over is the one to go with here. You mentioned it. I love the depth of this team. I mean, if they lose a guy, obviously don't wish an injury upon anybody. But if you lose a guy, they have plenty of guys to replace one another. You mentioned they also just traded for Adam Hazley yesterday from the Phillies, so they got a young outfield prospect depth there. So if someone goes down the outfield, they can have him come in. So they have a couple. They have depth, and I think that goes a long way in a 162 game season. Obviously, their bullpen's very good. You mentioned Graveman. I really like Liam Hendricks there in the back end, but I don't expect Jose Abreu to hit 261 again. Obviously, the 30 home runs and the 117 RBIs are really good, but I expect him to go back a little bit to close to like 270, 275 range there for him. So, and then Josh Harrison, I mean, you saw what he did with the Nationals in the playoffs there, so another great addition. But I mean, we haven't even mentioned Tim Anderson yet, probably arguably the best shortstop in the MLB. So this team is just filled with talent, and in the division where we mentioned it, you're going to have a weak bottom. Then you'll have some mediocre teams in the Twins and Tigers. That's only them going to take advantage of those teams too. So to me, you absolutely take the 90, 93 here. And I think you're sitting at probably 96 to 100.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it'll be a good squad. I think baseball is one of those sports with a manager. It matters less, I believe. And it only matters if your manager is on the high extreme, like I've said, or the low extreme. So that would be like your Kevin Cash and your Aaron Boone. So that's just one example of that. I think Tony La Russa now, we all thought he'd be in the lower half. I put him, in the middle to upper half. Once he gets to playoff time, he knows what he's doing. And I think an experience with this squad will help. I'm honestly, I'm a little surprised he's still coaching. I kind of thought he'd take his money and just bounce.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, no, he's still in it. So he likes the game, likes the team. So I'm gonna take the over. And this is where I'll mention some player props. This is where one of my Cy Young candidates is going to come from. I will be betting this as well. Lucas Giolito, plus 1,000. I think those are third best odds on FanDuel right now for the pitchers. You've heard some of the scuttlebutt coming out of there. Wasn't thrilled about the arbitration stuff. There was like a $50,000 difference between him and the White Sox. So he wasn't pleased about that. He's feeling good. He's looked good in the spring. I think he could be easily a dominant pitcher. He's kind of inconsistent at times. If he just puts it together, I think for sure, best pitcher on one of the best teams in baseball has a shot to win the Cy Young, plus 1,000. Pretty good odds there.
Yeah, no, I like that too, and I especially with him being close to Bieber. I think you said Shane Bieber's at like 940 or around there. I'd say I definitely go with Lucas here, just because if it comes down to it, they will take the win total into a factor, and obviously we all expect Chicago to be a lot higher up there in the standings than Cleveland, so that's going to give him the edge over Bieber. So especially with it being better odds, I definitely like that pick there, and I would consider the World Series one too, or at least to get there, the AL champion, over the World Series. Maybe not the World Series, but definitely look at the AL champion there with some of the other teams that you don't really know what's going to happen. Obviously, Toronto's had a lot of turnover. Boston had a lot of turnover as well. We'll see what their pitching brings and everything. So I think it's a very realistic year for Chicago to get there, obviously. And one interesting note is this is the first time they're actually coming off back-to-back playoff appearances in the history of the franchise. So they got eliminated in the they got eliminated. That's what I saw when I was looking it up. Yeah, coming off the exact quote, coming off back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time in franchise history, and then they failed to advance both times. Obviously, losing to Houston last year and Oakland the year before that. So it's only a matter of time before they get out of that first round again. So I think that this could be the special year for Chicago.
That's insane. I'm also going to give one more. We didn't talk about him earlier. We mentioned him briefly. Tim Anderson, hit leader, AL hit leader, plus 1,200 on Bovada. It wasn't given out on FanDuel, so I looked there. I like that as well. He's just a good hitter. Needs to stay healthy. He'll be up at the top of the hit charts. 1,200 is just too high, so I like that as well. I won't be making that official either, but just something to shout out there. All right, Andrew. Let's go over this real fast as Molly the dog says hello to everyone. Let's go over our bets here. If we have any. I have the over on the 73.5 for the Royals. Not official, but I'm going to be leaning that way. I've gone back and forth on the Guardians, so I've got basically no opinion there. I'm taking the under 77.5 for the Tigers. I'm also going to take the under. I wrote over, but I'm going to take the under 81.5 for the Twins. Just think that they are too volatile. They want to win, all those prospects, but they wanted to win last year. So just because you want to win doesn't mean you will win. And over 93.5 for the White Sox, as well as Lucas Giolito plus 1,000 to win the AL Cy Young. Andrew, any bets stand out to you? Ones you like here?
I took the under for the Royals there at 70 or 73. I took the over. Yeah, I took the over for the Guardians. I took the over for the Tigers, the under for the Twins, and then the over for the White Sox. And then I think you said it was plus 410 for the Tigers to make the playoffs. They are they are a dark horse there. Again, the odds are pretty good there, and I think with the expansion of the playoffs, I think Detroit's definitely a dark horse to look out for. And then White Sox possible AL champion as well.
By the way, Andrew, for the people that might not know, you mentioned the playoff expansion twice. Could you just explain quickly how many teams are in the playoffs now for the people that don't know
The
and how they
playoffs are
got
now
there?
the playoffs are now 6 teams from each American and National League. So you'll have the 3 division winners and the 3 wild card teams. And it's basically, I forget how they're doing is it just two on bye? Is that what they're doing? Kind of like the NFL did?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think they're giving the first overall team a bye, and then second plays the best wild card, I assume, and then the wild card, the 2 like worst wild cards play the 3-team or a 3-game series to decide who goes on. Baseball is fucked because they just change their postseason rules seemingly every year, and we got to learn them all over again. While we're recording this, they might change it again. They literally added a playoff team on the day of opening day a couple of years ago. So who knows? Who knows?
That's not the only rule they changed. I mean, we had the DH in both leagues 2 years ago. They switched back, and now we got it back in both. You had the ghost runner initially taken away in extra innings, and now it's put back. I think it was put back last week. So the league doesn't even know. Well, so stay tuned for any new rule updates in the next week before opening day next Thursday.
Yes, for sure. And the other thing that I should mention, I forgot about this as we're talking about the White Sox, and I'll mention this briefly before we head out of here. They played in the Field of Dreams game, and I bet on the under in the Field of Dreams game, and they had juice balls. They're the most obvious juice balls ever. On those like showcase games, they bring out the juice balls, and they want overs and such. So just make a note of that too, everyone. It happened in England when the Red Sox and Yankees played. Both of those games ended up being like 30 runs total. Ridiculous. The fucking White Sox Field of Dream game last year was ridiculous. Overs. It was a great game. I'm not complaining. But for us gamblers, it's tough to read what ball they're using. So just another note there. Just another note there for all you gamblers out there that are watching the baseball season. But that's it. That's all we've got for you today on the AL Central. Andrew, I wouldn't be surprised if you're back with me again. We'll probably talk some West Coast baseball the next time you see me, or I guess we see each other. And you're going to be on during the year, and it's going to be a good time. I can't wait.
Sounds good. I can't wait. Best sport there is. So I'm excited that it's back and excited we get to do the show again.
Yes, it's going to be fun. Don't forget, another reminder that the show this year is going to be every day, Monday through Friday, 5:30 Central, or 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. I don't do West Coast time. So tune in then, and then don't forget Saturday, Sunday, we'll go early, 11:30. It's going to be a great time. Andrew, again, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. We'll talk soon. Oh, quickly, I forgot. I don't think I have it written down. Over-under for the Phillies. Actually, I do have it written down. Over-under for the Phillies, 86.5.
It's up to 86 now. Okay. Give me the over. 88, 89.
Okay, that's a biased over right there for Andrew Santangelo. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you guys on next time.